And I literally was like, you know what? Deuces, I'm out. And I literally walked out of that job.
Welcome to Healthy, Sexy Nutrition with me, Michelle Fox, culinary nutritionist, health coach, and your host for this podcast. I teach busy professionals how to get more nutrition in their bodies and how to have more fun in their home kitchens. If you struggle with consistency, or sometimes forget to make your needs a priority, or you avoid planning your meals, you, my friend, are in the right place. Join me each week for inspiration to increase your energy, discover new recipes, manage your hormonal woes, and so much more. You are a busy professional, but that does not mean your nutrition should suffer. You deserve to live in a body and have a life that you love. So let's dig in. I am so thrilled to introduce you to my new friend, Alicia Christian. She is a force to be reckoned with. Let me tell you, she is an actress, a singer, a doctorate in nursing practice, and the host of the Eating Me podcast. After over 10 years away from the entertainment world, Alicia is ready to share her ability to engage an audience through her storytelling, sultry, and gospel based vocal stylings, or by way of interviewing individuals sharing stories about how eating has affected their lives on a personal or professional level. Beyond the entertainment realm, Alicia is a certified pediatric nurse practitioner. Children are magical and generally want to be their best selves each and every day. Alicia prides herself in assisting the pediatric population in providing preventative health education, as well as treatment to help them lead lives that they are meant to have as they approach adulthood. In Alicia's words, she says, I'm a jack of all trades that has mastered how to do what I want in this life. What I want to do is a blessing to those that I encounter. The hope is they go out in the world and do the same. So, Alicia, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I'm so excited to be on your show. So thank you.
My pleasure. Oh my goodness. Just reading your bio lights me up. Every time we talk, I get lit up. Looking at
Oh,
your website. Oh my goodness. To my community who's listening, if you have not met Alicia yet, I'm just going to go ahead and jump to the end. Go to aliciachristian.com because when you see that infectious smile on the front of her page, you will know why I'm so lit up right now as well. So, again, Alicia, welcome.
thank you. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
yes, yes. So, before we jump into our juicy topic, which is finding our passion at any stage of life, would you be willing to play a little rapid fire question session with me?
I would love it. Let's do it.
Yay. Okay, okay, okay. So, very important question here. This is going to determine our friendship. We
No
can
pressure.
no pressure, no pressure. Here it is.
Okay.
Sweet, salty, or savory?
Sweet.
Okay, we can be friends because actually, really
Okay.
anything you said
Okay.
would be
Yay.
fine.
Okay. Okay. Good. 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 That's
Little
sweet.
trick question.
Oh my God.
Sweet is your thing.
Oh, it is definitely my thing. I mean, I can do some, salty things, some savory things, but if there's a good cookie or cake, I'm your girl.
It's
Like,
like snatched up.
right,
All
exactly. Oh my God.
right. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Okay, so far you're winning.
Oh,
Yes,
yay.
I'm a
Oh,
dog mama right here.
I'm allergic to cats. So that's one.
Yeah, same.
And, for those that love cats, I get it because they're so self-sufficient. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like, they're also scary to me. Like, they're just kind of like, out of nowhere, you'll just see them like running around. You're like, what is happening? Like, well, whatever. But
What is
dogs, I love
happening?
them. That's how I feel. Like, okay, are we like, what are you doing? But no, I love dogs. They're just so loyal and they're just sweet and they're just unconditional in terms of just how they present themselves. Yeah,
I
dogs.
agree. I agree. I agree. All right, your favorite movie of all time.
This is so funny because someone just asked me this the other day.
Ah.
And I always go back to my childhood favorite movie, which was The Sandlot. I
Oh,
love
I
that
don't think I know
movie.
that one.
So it's about these kids that play baseball and they every, pretty much every day after school or during the summer, playing baseball is like the way they connect. And they, as children, you have these like grandiose ideas. And so this man that lives next door, he's kind of like a hermit, but he has this scary dog. And so they made up all these stories about this dog and how scary this dog is. And this dog has done this and that attack. And when they find out that he is also a baseball fan and he has all this original paraphernalia from like Babe Ruth and all this stuff. And so it's a really cute story. And I know pretty much all the dialogue and everything. It's a fun little movie. I love it. It's so cute.
I love that. I'll have to check that out. I've got 3
Yeah,
teenagers, and sounds like maybe that could be a good family movie for us
it
one day.
is. It's literally the best.
All right, thanks for the tip. And then last question, and this is definitely not a trick question, is would you share with us one of your favorite childhood memories in the kitchen?
Oh my goodness. One of my favorite childhood memories would be with my aunt, and we called her Amy. And so
Mm.
would like she had certain actual recipes that she shared with no one, right?
Oh,
She was that person, right? But you could
okay.
watch her do certain things, but then she would tell you to either leave the kitchen because she was doing something that she didn't want you to know about. Like she was that person,
No
right?
way.
And every time I would be in the kitchen with her, she would allow me to stay.
Oh, so you had a
And
special connection.
I did because I was one of the only people. I'm a Southern girl, so she made greens all the time. And I was one of the kids that would sit and drink what's called pot liquor, which is basically the juice from the greens.
Oh, I love it.
I would drink the green I would drink the pot liquor with her and have cornbread, and so that was our connection. And so anytime I was in the kitchen, but she knew like I was true blue to her. So I couldn't tell you, and probably another reason why she would let me stay in the kitchen is because I was a kid. I wasn't like really paying attention to all the ingredients. But
Right.
I wanna believe I was the special one. So I was the special one. I got to be in on all the action. Um,
Yes.
Particularly when she would make greens, that was always my favorite time because I could watch, and I actually am really good at making greens. I think it was because I was watching her so much. Um, I it was just priceless just to be in there with her because she didn't measure anything. She was one of those, "Oh, that looks good," and then she would just kind of go from there. And so
Mhm.
that was always like a special time for me to be with her, my Amy. So yeah,
I love that, and you can tell she had a lot of love for you.
she
That's
did.
amazing. I love that
Yeah.
bonding. Ah, so now that leads us into our topic today, finding passion. I know you and I have so many similarities with
Mhm.
the nutrition, with the entertainment industry, with
Uh-huh.
wanting to help and heal others. And what I wanted to glean from you to share with our community in particular is I would really love to know more just about your path in finding your passion. Because I imagine, like most of us, it probably was not a straight line. And feel free to correct me if it was, but would you tell us a little bit about your story and how you've come to find your passion today?
Yeah, so it's wild. I've always known that I wanted to either perform or sing to some capacity. I tell people the story. My mother would just entertain. She would let
Mhm.
me just entertain her all the time. And
Nice.
anyone that was at home with us, they would kind of question it, like, why are you letting this child just kind of like take over? Like there would be adults there, and I'm, center of attention. And so I don't
Just
know.
out of curiosity, are you a fire sign in the astrological chart?
No.
Okay.
Surprisingly, I'm a Taurus.
That is surprising. Okay.
Yeah,
Good to
I
know. Good
know.
to know.
It's wild. So I've always been the person that's, wanted to entertain and make people feel good. And so it started at home, right?
Okay.
And then from there, I sang in, gospel choirs. I was part of the church. It's just, part of the construct. And once I started singing in the gospel choir and people would actually say to me, "Oh, you can sing." And I was like, "Oh, okay, this is not just my mom, appeasing me. This is real." And anyone who's sang in a gospel choir, especially ones that are, pretty strict with how they kind of manage things, they'll let you know, like, you're off.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah,
You're
real
not singing a
quick.
solo. Like,
Real quick. Yes.
right, right.
Our people
So,
keep it honest for sure.
okay, and I was actually speaking to someone about this, actually my, voice teacher, because, he also sang in gospel choirs too, and I was like, "Listen, there's a lot of," I mean, even though I had that great experience, there's a lot of trauma from how harsh some of these people were, but that's a whole other story.
Yes,
But so I
agreed.
started you're right, so I started singing with the gospel, different gospel choirs around the city that I grew up in, and I then was introduced to theater. And
Okay.
that was in middle school. I kinda dibbled in it a bit, but then once I got to high school, my theater teacher, who I'm still really good friends with, he's like one of my mentors. This man saved my life, like, seriously. Um,
Alicia.
I yeah, seriously, like, I was a child, I was always overweight. Even though I still was very extroverted and everything, I still had so many insecurities, and he saw through that. Like, he was like, "Okay, I see you in a way that you're trying so hard to fight to be seen. I already see you." Right?
Mm. Oh,
Right,
that's love right there.
right. And so
Mm.
when I first met him, I was actually in the marching band, during band camp, one time at band camp. So
Love it.
so I actually auditioned for the color guard. So the color guard is basically the girls who, perform with, like, the flags and
Oh, that's
stuff.
right. The big old flags. Yeah. So
Yes,
you're dancing right along with the
right. So
beat
I
and the
was
drum.
yes, all those things, right? So I am one of them. Even though I auditioned, I was still, like, really nervous, like, "Girl, what did you get yourself into? Like, what are we doing?" So I was in the back because I just wanted to kinda see what everyone else was doing first before I brought myself to the front.
Okay.
And that he actually was also one of the coaches for the marching band, and that's where he initially spotted me, and he saw me, and he motioned to me to come forward. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? What did I do?" And he said, "You come forward. You're a star." And that
Mm.
has stuck with me
Mm.
forever, right?
Yeah, the
And
power
it
of teachers and
right.
power of being seen, especially at
Power
a
of
young
being
age.
seen, and I think that's so important for
Mm.
kids in general because sometimes you feel inadequate in so many ways. You're trying to figure out, especially in high school, middle school, those years are so weird for kids, you know?
Yes,
You're trying to figure it
yes, I do
out,
not
you
wanna
know?
go back, yes.
No, no,
Mhm,
not at all.
mhm.
Um, and so I shined throughout high school in terms of, like,
Nice.
performing and all that, and when it was time to graduate, got small again in terms of just I probably shouldn't pursue going to New York City. I probably should
Oh,
go with my friends
oh, interesting.
to a school that was a religious because I grew up in the church and I wanted to be with my friends. It was that battle between do I pursue my dream or do I stick it out with my friends that I grew up with in the church forever, you know? And so I
Wait,
did.
and just to pause, just for point
Mhm.
of reference, when you're saying, "I got small again," you're saying small with your self-confidence?
Yeah.
Or okay,
And,
got it,
and just kind of bringing down my shine as who I am as a person
got
because
it.
sometimes I felt like I was being too big
Mm,
and
yeah,
I'm,
I get
taking
that.
up too much space, you know?
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
and so when that did happen, I realized like I had a lot of, even family saying to me, "Alicia, you probably should go with them to school. It'll be safe. You'll know some people at school and you won't just be out there by yourself." And then on top of that, performing, like, is that real? Is that a real career?
Right,
Like,
right, you can't make money doing
you can't make
that.
money. You're gonna be that starving actor. Like, why would you wanna
Yes,
do that to yourself? So, I'm
yes,
young and these people, they've lived longer than me, so why wouldn't I believe them? Like, what? I don't
of course. Of
So,
course, oh, it breaks my heart, but yes, I
yeah, so I
received
mean
similar messaging. I'm relating to
right.
everything you're saying right now, but yes, continue.
Oh, you're fine, you're fine. So, I
Yeah.
went to school, I went to a small HBCU in Huntsville, Alabama with my friends that was also religious based. It's called Oakwood University now, but it was Oakwood College then. I
Okay.
went there for 2 years and I was like, no, I can't do this." Like, I
Mhm.
literally I tried. Like, I gave it like they say the old college try. I literally I gave them 2 years, okay? Like
And was it that you felt more like a big fish in a small pond kinda
yeah,
thing? Yes, okay,
I
just didn't
definitely
fit, right.
it didn't fit,
Yeah.
and this actual school has amazing music department. Like some of the like really well-known singers like Brian McKnight, Take Six, they all went to this school,
Oh,
but
wow. Okay.
yeah, but the thing is what I didn't want to be a solo artist. I wanted to get into theater and kind of do that thing. But
Sure.
I yeah, so I left and I actually auditioned. I didn't tell my mother. I was going home for spring break and I got money from a friend of mine because I was broke. I'm a college kid. Let's be serious. I
Mhm.
saw an ad for the American Musical and Dramatic Academy.
Oh.
And yeah, and they were having auditions all around the country. And they happened to have an audition in Nashville, Tennessee. And I said to my friend, I want to do that. Like, I want to audition, but I am broke. I don't need money. Like, how? He's like, listen, don't even worry about it. Fill out everything. I will give you the money because I know this is what, right,
Oh, that
right,
is a good friend right there.
right. And
Oh.
so I didn't tell my mom. And on my way, because I'm from Indiana, Evansville, Indiana. So my trek from Huntsville was, Nashville's on the way. So I might as well just stop in Nashville and audition and just keep pushing on home. And
I love it.
and so I did. I auditioned. I was terrified because there were hundreds of kids there.
I'm
And
sure.
so there's that. And I'm like, okay, all these kids, and then they're going to other cities around the country. I mean, what? Alicia, at least you showed up. At least you showed up. So I didn't even think about it. I was like, okay, I auditioned and I'm gonna go home. No one knows about this but my friend in Alabama. So it is what it is. But I wasn't thinking. I put my home address,
Of course you
my
did.
mother's address,
So,
uh,
don't tell me, did your mom end up opening the acceptance
she
letter?
opened the letter. So fast forward a few weeks later,
Yes.
she calls me. She's like, so there's my mom was very she's passed on, but she was very southern. Like in the way
Okay.
she's like, Alicia, I got this thing in the mail saying you got accepted to the school in New York. And I was like, what? Yeah. What is it? So she said, it says you're going.
Oh,
And I'm like, so
I
what are you
got
doing?
goosebumps from mama right now.
And, yeah, and so I
Oh.
said, well, are you okay with me going? And she's like, well, I'm okay, but why didn't you tell me? And
But you can tell she was ready. She knew. She knew what
yeah,
her daughter or where her daughter was meant to be.
yeah.
And it's the
She
big
knew.
city.
Always super
Mm.
supportive of me, like, constantly just always behind whatever I wanted to do. So yeah, I was grateful for that. So I moved to New York, went to the conservatory, did that, and I performed for a little over 10 or 11 years professionally. And
Okay.
then life got crazy, as life
Mhm.
does,
Mhm.
and I was dating and just being a New York girl, as those things happen. And
Yes. I lived
listen,
that New York life for about 6 years, and I loved it.
oh, yes, and
Yes.
I got pregnant, and
Okay.
I was like, "Okay, well, there's that. Lord, what am I gonna do?" And so, for me, at the time, because I was still struggling with just sexuality in general, I was like, "Okay, if let's say I don't wanna be with a man beyond this point, the likelihood of me having a child again is pretty slim.
Mm.
So, I'm just gonna take the leap, and Imma have this
Mm.
baby and see what happens."
Mm.
And that was rough. That was probably one of the roughest points in my life. I was at my lowest. I was on the verge of eviction.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough.
It was
In New
tough.
York, 'cause New York's
And
already a hard city, so if you're floating at the
floating
lower
at
levels, that
lower
makes it like
level
life and death every day, right?
literally every day. And so
Right.
I called my mom and I was like, I need to come home. Like I need to come home and regroup. And I guess I have to forget about this whole performing thing. But I always wanted to be a nurse. As a child, I went to a hospital to see one of my cousins, they had a baby, and I remember seeing this is like, I think I was like 7 or 8, and
Mm.
I looked in the window of the nursery, and I saw these women back there taking care of these babies, and I said to my mom back then, I was like, "That's what I wanna do. I wanna take care of babies."
Oh, that's
That's
so
what I
innocent.
right. I had no idea. Let me say
Right, now that you're few years later on the other side,
right,
would you
I'm
still feel
like
this way?
Meanwhile, labor and delivery was the last thing that I wanted to get into. Once I went
That's a lot
into
of
nursing
words.
school, for those who love labor and delivery, I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah,
bless y'all,"
yeah,
because it just wasn't for me.
sure.
But so I went back home, I went to school for nursing because I just needed a means to an end, really, at the end of
Mhm.
the day. Like, I
Well, and
love
support. I imagine your mom was there to help you raise your
yeah,
daughter, it sounds like?
yes, oh, very much.
Okay,
She
nice, nice.
when I needed to go to clinicals, my mom was retired at the time too, so it was also great company for her, for my daughter to be there because she was living by herself. So my
What a
mom and my daughter,
blessing.
yeah, it was a blessing for both of
Yeah.
them, and they had the best relationship. So it was just even though it was a hard time, it was necessary because my daughter built a relationship with my mom that I could have never imagined, right?
Mm, I love that.
So yeah, so went to nursing school, came back to the city after I realized Evansville was not gonna be the mainstay.
Right.
'Cause you've ever been to Evansville? I mean, listen, Evansville,
I've
Indiana,
never
no.
is it a bit much?
Here's the thing, like, I grew up in Evansville. Evansville, when I was growing up, was a great place
Mhm.
for if you wanted, like, a suburban type of lifestyle.
Okay,
But in terms of diversity and really having true exposure to all types of people, not so much. Full
got
South.
it. Okay, makes sense. Makes perfect
South.
sense.
And, for in my family that still lives there, they love it there. It works for some people. It just didn't work for me, and that's what it is. And so I moved back to the city as a nurse, not even thinking about performing. And I did the nursing thing for up until I mean, I kinda did some things here and there, like performing wise, like I did some commercial work, but nothing to where I was really going back into it and saying, "I'm back in the game." And
Okay.
that didn't actually happen until how we were talking before when I walked out of my job at beginning of this year. And I said, "I have been suppressing who I really am for so
Mhm.
long. Like, I just can't do this
Mhm.
anymore."
Yeah.
Um, and so I quit my job. I got back on every platform imaginable in terms of acting, headshots, my website, the whole 9. And now I'm podcasting and all the things, just trying to just make it happen as best as I can. So yeah,
Oh, Alicia, thank you for sharing that journey with us. That is
you're welcome.
incredible. Incredible. I wanna actually take just one step back to what you just said. I can't
Mhm.
do this anymore. Like, in
Mm,
the work you do on the medical side, but also the work that you do on the healing, more naturopathic side,
right.
would you agree with me that when we are living outside of our purpose, it can be absolutely exhausting to our
It is.
spirit and to our bones,
Yeah,
physically, literally?
it really is. And I think for me, like me walking out of that job was me saying, one, now that I'm like, look, like in retrospect, I'm thinking, okay, I was trying to find purpose in something that really wasn't my purpose. And so I
Mm,
was pushing myself. I've got to prove that I'm valuable in this space, despite the fact that I'm not really happy in this space.
right, right.
And at the time, I didn't know if me going back into performing or whatever would even be possible. So let me just push
Mm,
myself. And I compromised not only myself, I would compromise those I provided care for, everything. Honestly, everything was compromised. And so, all that to say, for people who are in those positions where you are burning yourself out, you're not just burning yourself out, everyone around you is affected.
yes.
Everyone is affected. And so if you're a healer, it's important that you take care of yourself first and set
Mm,
those boundaries. And I wasn't setting boundaries. I
great.
wasn't because I was
So what
afraid.
so you were afraid of setting the
I was
boundaries, you're saying?
afraid of setting the boundary because I was worried about my employer. Like, what will they
Ah,
say if I
yeah.
say, at this point of the evening, I cannot answer any more emails from families that are asking questions about COVID related issues? Or
Mm,
at this point, can I say that this, even if we do have something that's COVID related, because it's not emergent, because of where I worked at the time, it wasn't something that I could do. So if you caught COVID, you would have to go to the hospital. Like I wasn't working in a hospital. Like, what am I gonna do?
all right,
I'm
all
like,
right.
well wishes. I mean, like, exactly. I mean, I
Right.
don't want to downplay COVID either, but at the same time,
No,
I
yeah.
put so much pressure on myself in a
Mm.
way that just was not beneficial, one to myself or to anyone around. So I literally had to take a look at myself beyond like my job being my workplace being an abusive environment. I still had to take accountability for what part I played in it as well, you know?
And what was your wake-up call, would you say? Was it one thing or was it multiple steps growing in that direction?
It was multiple steps.
Okay.
I was working with another team member that had to step out or, take a leave, a mental health leave because of the stress of this place. So that was like, oh,
Mm.
like this
Ouch.
is right, this is intense. Like, but I'm still gonna try and barrel through because quote unquote they need me here, right?
Sure. Yes, I think that's the human condition. I think most of us want to feel needed. Like there is that can kind of feel like a drug sometimes. Like it
Yes.
feels good to be needed and
e-
wanted.
Exactly.
And so now the Alicia that I have witnessed, which has been relatively new, and your growing audience that I've noticed. So you're new to a lot of us. Like tell us
Yeah.
about some of the passions you're focused on right now.
So right now I am actually the host, yay, of the Eat Me podcast. And this has been a long time coming. I was sharing with you before that I've always wanted to be a talk show host because I can literally talk about anything. And I
Mhm.
love learning about people in general and their lives and their journeys and how they get to
Mhm.
certain points in
Mhm.
life. It's just interesting to me because the human
Same.
experience is not cookie cutter. Everyone's story is so different, you know?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm nosy. I want to know, like, girl, how did you get there? Like, what? Like, I want to
Right.
know.
Yes.
Um, so this podcast I started one because of the human experience. I want to learn about different people's experiences, but also because my podcast is called the Eat Me Podcast. I
Love
have
it.
struggled with eating my whole life. I am an emotional eater, binge eating, you name it. If it involves me like eating in excess, I'm that person,
Yeah.
right?
You're not
Uh,
alone. You're
and
not
I
alone.
and that's why that was another reason why I wanted to actually start this podcast is because I knew I wasn't alone, right? Like
Yes.
I know there's so many other people out there with stories either around, being someone that overeats or that has struggles with bulimia or anorexia or whatever that looks like. And so I just wanted to share those stories with the community at large and let them know like these people are also in the same position. And some of these people are professional people, people you would never even imagine that would be struggling with something that you would think would seem so minuscule in their realm, like they've succeeded in so many things. How could food that has no thoughts or feelings have this control over you? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
so yeah, I just wanted to have that voice for not only myself, but for so many other people that are out there that are struggling silently. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, that's where
No,
I'm
it's
at with this right
awesome.
now. I'm loving it. It's been amazing. My
Yeah.
my actual dream is just to be a, like a podcast host
That
and
would be awesome.
I've always wanted to have my own talk show. So this
I love it.
is everything to me. So like, if I do start some other type of project, I'm just letting God just kind of like do his thing with me at this point.
I've listened to a few podcasts and your
Uh-huh.
energy is just infectious. Like you can tell how much you care about this subject and how much you want to bring us along for the journey. So thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you. I think it's also for me because I've been plant based for since what 2009, the end of 2009. I went plant based because I have multiple sclerosis. That's a whole other situation. But even with me being plant based, I still struggle with all of the things mentally in my head. Right?
Sure.
Like I, I know that being incorporating more plant based foods in my diet will help with certain things, but I still have that mental component that I'm still struggling with. And I think that's where some people think like, okay, you're plant based, so you have it all figured out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you are the model, eating person. And it's like, no, sweetie, I'm still struggling.
Yes, that is, I think, one of the human conditions.
Yeah.
I think I shared with you, I went to NYU and I studied applied psychology, and so I did my thesis on addiction.
Mm,
And what I have learned is that I and believed, because I don't know that I learned this when I was writing the thesis, but I believe every one of us has some type of addiction, whether it's
mhm.
food, alcohol, drugs, scrolling through social media can be an
Yes.
addiction, the addiction for love, the addiction for sex. Like
Mhm.
there is that thing that I think we're all constantly searching for the answers. And maybe if you heal it in one way, like I don't mind sharing, I did have bulimia in college and
Okay.
I danced professionally with the Dance Theater of Harlem. And
Right.
I was super skinny. I was 115 pounds, but they were constantly telling me, you gotta lose weight, you gotta lose weight. And so, surprise, surprise, I developed an eating disorder.
Right.
So there was that, but I got the therapy, I did the work. And so, that is healed for the most part. And I
Right.
have tools to manage that. But then now it's coffee. Like it feels like it moves to different areas in my life. And this is like, I'm doing a huge, 20-year gap. There's other things that addiction,
Right.
and then I healed it, and then addiction, and then I healed it. Right
Right.
now, it's the coffee because caffeine just is not my friend at all. Like that's another episode of me healing my actually, I'm gonna put that out there right now. We're gonna do an episode of me and my process of healing my addiction to coffee.
I love that. I love that.
Yes, but all that to say that, yeah, I think we just gotta keep being curious and keep asking
Yeah.
the questions and keep figuring out what works for our own bodies.
Right. And I think that's what's also something I'm learning is learning myself, right? As opposed
Mm.
to like taking in, oh, there's the Atkins diet, or there's this, or there's that, and then just sticking to that because everyone else is doing it,
Mm-mm.
right? It's like finding what works for my body and being okay with that despite what, because like when I decided to be plant-based, I had family members that were like, "Are you crazy? You
Well,
don't
tell
have to."
tell us more for the listeners who might be saying that right now, like, "What do you mean by plant-based?" Like, what? Because people define that differently. So what does it mean to you?
So for me, and the reason why I say I'm plant-based is because I consume honey. But for
Okay.
the most part, I don't eat any foods or anything that contains animal products besides the honey
Oh,
situation.
okay. Okay.
Um, and for people that are vegan, their whole lifestyle, and I'm talking about clothing, accessories, typically are all vegan. I'm not that
Sure.
girl. I'm
Sure.
not that
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you noticed differences? 'Cause you mentioned the MS, so have you noticed an
Yeah.
improvement in your
Yeah,
body
symptoms.
since?
Yeah, for sure. So when
Okay.
I was initially diagnosed with MS, my whole left side of my body, I didn't have gross motor skills. I didn't have fine motor skills. For me
Oh,
to lift my arm, it felt like I was lifting like at least 20-pound weights and I
oh,
was completely out of breath. I'm a left-handed person as well. So because of that, I couldn't write.
oh, how
It was almost as
scary.
if I had a stroke,
Oh my
right?
goodness. Wait, and
Yeah.
was this like a temporary thing, like for a couple hours, or was this like a couple days?
This
What
was
was this?
months.
Oh, a couple months. Oh my goodness.
It was months.
Oh, Alicia.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is
how
when I was in nursing
scary.
school. Yeah, I was in nursing school dealing with
Oh,
all this.
shoot. Oh,
Um,
shoot.
the right side of my body, I had no temperature regulation. So if I put my hand in hot water, I could scald or just basically burn myself because I couldn't feel it.
Oh, shoot.
And with
Okay.
me changing my diet, I'm not saying that all of it was because of my diet change, but it did help with my energy levels. I was able to get through nursing school. I obviously write again. I can write.
Nice.
My
Yeah.
temperature regulation it's still a work in progress. I'm back and actually even beyond the temperature regulation, when I would touch a person, I couldn't even feel. So you know when you touch something, you're touching something beyond the temperature. I couldn't even feel that. If I put my
Oh,
hand on something, I didn't know. But my eyes were closed. I couldn't tell you that my hand was on something. You could feel like it's an
oh.
arm or it's a piece of wood. I couldn't tell you what it was. And now I can do those things, and I know a lot of it was attributed to me being plant-based.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fabulous. And how
yeah.
many years have you been plant-based?
Oh my gosh, since what, 2009? So
Oh,
there's
many,
that
many
amount.
years. Okay. Yeah, that's plenty of
Yeah.
time to know that this is working for your body right now.
Yeah, it's working. I mean, I take supplements obviously because with, the plant-based quote unquote like vegan diet, there's certain things that you can't get. So like omegas, B12 and just B complex, things like that. I do take those supplements to,
Good.
make sure I'm actually having that for my daily intake. But it's been great. And I mean, honestly, even when I wasn't plant-based, I never liked meat.
Oh, interesting.
It
Okay.
just the
Okay.
taste of it was just not for me.
Okay.
Certain things. Like I do miss like brisket, like where I'm from, and it's
Yeah, being
called
from the South, you said, right?
barbecue.
Yeah. Oh, that would be tough.
Yeah, so I do miss it. I do miss like eating some of those things, but I'm like, I'm okay. Like I said, I could take or leave meat, honestly, but that's not everybody, you know?
And plus, you notice a difference in your energy. Like, it's like,
Right,
do I want energy or do I want to feel like crap? And I love that
right,
you're choosing the energy.
right, exactly.
Yeah. Alicia, this has been so wonderful. I just want to say thank you. And where can my community find you?
Oh, thank you so much. So you all can find me, like Michelle said, you can find me at aliciachristian.com. That's my website. Information about my podcast is on there as well. I have an acting reel from like years ago. You can see like, oh girl, you've lost weight. Okay. But yeah, I was on there. It is what it is. And then also you can find me on Instagram. I am Nursey Leash on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as Alicia Christian, and then I just joined TikTok. I feel like an old person on TikTok. I'm like, I think I'm the Alicia Christian on TikTok. I'm trying to figure out this TikToking. I am aging
It's a lot.
myself,
No,
Michelle, but
it's a lot. I don't even touch it. I let my teenage daughter take over my TikTok account. Don't tell anybody. It's too intimidating for me.
it's all good.
Uh,
I
yes,
completely understand because it's a lot. The
yes.
algorithm situation, I'm still. I don't know. I'm doing my best. How about that? So yeah, those are the places you can find me.
I love it. Well, speaking of doing your best, thank you for showing your bright light. Thank you for
Oh,
continuing to share and pour into the community. And just thank you for being you. I
oh,
appreciate you.
thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for your podcast and everything that you're doing. Like I've been following and it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing because I love seeing Black women empowered and also sharing healthy eating lifestyle with everyone. Because it's so important for our community just to be educated on eating well and then also just living an amazing life. Like your pictures with your husband, the joy. I'm just like, oh, they look like they're having so much fun.
We are doing our best.
I love it. I love
Well,
it.
thank you, my friend. We will talk soon.
Yes. Thank you so much again.
Oh.
See ya.
Thanks so much for listening to Healthy, Sexy Nutrition. Have you been driving, doing laundry, or walking around the neighborhood? Sweet! I've got show notes for you at michellefox.com/podcast. Click over there when you are ready. I will let you know that on the page you will find resources to support what you just learned on today's show. And of course, you can grab some health supportive freebies as well. If you enjoyed this episode, I would be so honored if you would leave a review on whichever podcast platform you are listening on. It will help me with my mission to build healthier communities, one person at a time. Big love from your favorite culinary nutritionist and health coach. And until next week, keep showing up for yourself and know that you and your health matter. You deserve to live in a body and have a life that you love.